One of the things I like so much about Glyos is the community. I've never met a group of toy collectors that has been so well connected and so welcoming. Everyone I've met has been very nice and informative. They're more than happy to share information on toys that I wasn't around for, help me obtain them, help me out with parts that I'm missing, and I've made some really good friends through this community and through these obscure little toys. It's almost to the point where I thought I had actually found a toy community without any jerks in it whatsoever. And then last Glyos recap, I got a comment from a jerk who decided that I missed out on one super obscure homage that I really should have recognized. I am a fraud, I am an idiot, I should stop pretending to be an expert and cease doing these videos immediately. So welcome to the new edition of Glyos Recap, a series devoted to all fans of Glyos, from the veterans to those who just clicked because they were curious, because a sure way of killing off small communities and toy companies like this is by ostracizing the newcomers. Yeah, I'm sorry I start a video like that, but some people don't understand that the playground doesn't belong to them just because they got there first. So yeah, this is the Glyos Recap for February, because March has been a struggle, so I have not been able to get this video out until now, but hey, it's actually very well timed. I have some very big things that I'm going to let you guys in on at the end of the video, because there's some really cool stuff on the way, both the night you're watching this, if you're watching it when it's brand new, otherwise that makes no sense, but also something really cool is happening tomorrow on April 1st, so we're going to go into that at the very end. For now, let's show off a few things that come in since the last. Not a whole lot of like super rare stuff. You have this beautiful green Faden. Now this one was exclusive to Designer Con, where a lot of independent toy companies get together and swap notes and everything. This one was released at retail like this, without that very nice Faden head, body, and of course the pelvis, crotch. But hey, at least there's some retail release of the color. I like that. Yeah, I wanted something in the frame when I started this video, but man, they're screwing up the focus. Sorry, guys. But yeah, this was exclusive to a convention. Another one of those really weird oddities that you only come across if you're in the right place at the right time. Speaking of, we also have these guys, which, for my Transformer fans, yeah, they are definitely supposed to be Constructicons. This is the Destroyator set. Yeah, I know. As you can see, they are Buildmen from Onell. Buildmen as Constructicons. Get it? But yeah, it's the same lime green, it's the same purple. These were not sold by Onell. This was sold by, I want to say Battle Grip, a different website that does more toy reviews than anything. So it's kind of weird that they actually got Glyos figures to sell, or commissioned a run of these guys in this color scheme. So yeah, these do not get seen very often. They are quite obscure. They're supposed to come with extra accessories to tell if it's like version 1 or version 2 of these guys. I don't have either of those accessories, so they're just Constructicons to me. And then this. This is a bizarre little guy. Meet a Beanbot. Just a Beanbot. I don't know the specific name of this one, if it even has them. So, Matt Dowdy from Onell Design actually did toys for other companies for a while. He incorporated his Glyos connection system into a toy line called Beantown, which was based on, it's like Mighty Beans, basically. You know, so little bean characters, another independent toy line that he did work for. You know, and he used his Glyos pegs wherever he could. There's a little spoon. There's a plastic spoon with a Glyos peg in it somewhere in the world. It's kind of weird. But Beantown didn't go on for too long, so this toy and the molding eventually got adapted into the Onell product line, into something we now know as a Phaseon. And as you can see, there are very similar parts and then a few additions as well. The bean head is gone, replaced by the dome, but you can still see the arms and the chest and the legs are pretty much spot on. Now, there are some other parts in here, it was done anyway, that are located in this piece, which, to my knowledge, this big chunk of extra bit to customize the Beanbot was never sold as any particular Glyos toy, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, this is a really old and obscure bit of Glyos history for you. So that's just a little bit of where these weird toys come from and the strange world that is Glyos. Now, we don't have too many toys to talk this time because not a whole lot of things got released in February. Most companies were trying to get things out ahead of the end of the year in December. But there is some interesting stuff. So, as usual, if you weren't paying attention to the world of Glyos in the month of February 2016, this is what you missed. You missed some interesting stuff. We're going to start with the Onell product line this time, because they did quite a bit. Well, not really. It's a small drop, but it actually did some pretty interesting things. For instance, the Vortex is back from the Neo-Sarvos build with all the new Gly Armor parts in this beautiful color scheme that Onell Design is calling Sunstorm. And yep, yeah, that is definitely a Transformer name and is definitely similar to the Transformer in color. Aside from the black accents, which my geekier fans will go, it's supposed to be white, and even geekier fans will go, it's homaging the BotCon Sunstorm. It probably isn't, guys. I do love the Phoenix look to this guy, and I love the color. I don't know how it's coming across on your screen because I have to use different lights today, and I don't know exactly how it's going to look in color correction, but in person, it is a really interesting metallic yellow. And you say, gold. No, metallic yellow. There's a vibrance and a vividness that shouldn't be in gold. It's very interesting to actually look at. Very cool color. Definitely not gold. I'm sure you can spot some kind of color that is called gold that looks like that, but if you saw it in person, man, it looks metallic yellow. It's a really interesting mix. Interesting enough, there was also an armor board that came out in that color. Really interesting. I really like these big brutish characters in bright colors like this. There's just something about this that makes him look very powerful, like he's kind of shining with energy. Very, very radiant color scheme on something as brutish as that. So that was a cool one. The interesting one, the one that broke PayPal. See, every now and then, Glyos figures tend to sell so fast, they actually break PayPal's shopping cart system. And it's happened a few times now. But the one that did it this time, what we think did it this time, is this lovely piece of plastic. This is a Vortex Gotharus, if I'm remembering that name correctly. That is absolutely gorgeous. A very dark purple, gold and silver accents, pitch black parts, and that beady red eye. This is actually based on the Gothotropolis Ravens from Four Horsemen, another independent toy line, but they do like full 6-inch action figures. And actually a fan of mine turned me on to those, and I never got the chance to pick one up. Always a little bit too pricey for the ones I wanted. But it kind of lives on through this particular figure, which is based on their default Raven character. It is exceptional. One of the nicest looking figures I think Onell has ever done, and probably a shoe-in for one of my favorites I've ever seen. Yeah, this one sold out so fast it broke PayPal because everyone wanted that one. It's actually getting a second run here in probably a couple months down the line here. So be on the lookout. If you missed out on it the first time, there should be a second chance to get it. There was also something bizarre in, because there's also a third Vortex released. It was actually homaging a Genesis game, which unfortunately I can't remember the name of offhand. Alien something? I was never a big Genesis kid. But it's like what I would call like the best example of like just a bird in armor. Like if you just want a standard Vortex look, that's kind of where the best one is I've seen so far. But we haven't. But here we need to see one of these guys in the Neo-Sarvos form, the actual Gly Armor, and we did. And Matt did something weird this time. Behold the Glyclops. Yes, it has an eye painted on. It's a little bit bizarre. So the Gly Armor, the nice thing about it is it's been designed specifically to have different paint masks and different configurations applied to it. As you can see, and I've showed it off before, all the armor is flipped around, you know, the different heads for different configurations. So even though you're looking at the same set of parts and you're looking at the same toys, they have vastly different looks to them, which I think is an extremely clever design job. You can see on the back, definitely the same mold. You can see the different paint patterns going on here, where, you know, basically, you know, they swapped A to A, B to B parts, which got painted and which did not. But it left it with this very interesting silver armor on top of translucent orange. This is called a Pyretelica color scheme, and they actually did Pyretelica before, but it didn't have the glitter in it before. And I'm not too big of a fan of the glitter, especially on some of the thinner parts where it kind of didn't get in all the way, and it kind of makes a bit of an inconsistent look, but it's definitely interesting, and it does look like it's going to be a signature of the Glyclops. So, once again, doing things just a little bit differently. So that seems like it's going to be a recurring character in these figures and in the Glyos waves for a little bit at least. I do know there's at least one more on the way. So that's pretty much what Onell had. Not a big drop. They did give us these two things. Super bizarre Cray-Boss, and yes, this is how they came, with the bodies swapped. I have no idea. I don't think anyone really figured out what these things were homaging. We had some weird guesses, but that's pretty much it. It's a bizarre pair, to say the least. And it's very like G2 Action Master, Thundercracker. Yeah, it's not based on him, but yeah, it's definitely different. Definitely interesting, at least. So from there, the only other major drop, the only other major release that came out of Glyos in February was from Toyfinity. Last time I did a recap, we got to see a brand new mold from Toyfinity, except it was released by Onell Design and had a different configuration. But this time, I can properly introduce you to Assassin, the brand new Zeroid. Zeroids was a pretty obscure and not very long-lived toy line of robots that were much more akin to the stuff you'd find in really old sci-fi movies and, you know, Plan 9 from Outer Space type stuff. And as you can see, the pipe arms, big head, big bulk body at the bottom. It's very true to all those classic robots from the movies, and that's pretty much what Zeroids did. But it was another toy line owned by the same people who did the original RoboForce, so they kind of came along for the ride, and now they have a brand new toy and brand new mold all their own. Just like the RoboForce, it's a big hunk of plastic with a ton of ports for a ton of customization options. There aren't as many parts to this. As you can see, it's fairly small compared to standard RoboForce build. Yeah, it's about the size of a standard Glyos toy. But that does give the RoboForce line a little bit of variety. That's always a good thing. And not to mention, it's completely compatible with the other toys in the line. Of course it is, because it's Glyos. But in this case, it's specifically designed to go with the other RoboForce kits, which allows you to create bigger, better things. And I'm going to show you one of those after I show you the new RoboForce build that came out of this series as well. Also representing the Zeroids, though this is your standard RoboForce mold, this, oh man, this is Striker. Sorry. Minor slip of the brain. It's back now. This is a really interesting one because, again, like if you saw my previous Glyos recaps, it's the same set of parts. You can see the same treads, this chest piece that some of them use, and there you have the arms that some of them use. But it's all done in a completely different configuration, and it's using way more parts than these things usually do, too. There's usually a lot more left over. And I think it's really interesting. Like, I love this use of the head, like this one mono eye thing going on, because this is normally like a pelvis piece for the like the standard humanoid robot configuration. Very clever to use it as a standard head. That actually works out really well and gives them this interesting and creepy look. So again, the versatility of the RoboForce molds continues to amaze me. You know, it's one of the Glyos lines I recommend to anybody who just wants to try it out and have one solid figure in their collection that they can swap around and play with. Because there's so many different things you can do and so many things you can build off of one kit. Then, along with those two, a joint kit was released that had 2 different configurations and 2 different toys built into a single, into like one big package. So that did allow you to create other characters and other configurations. This is another in the Zeroids. I guess all these black and red ones are going to be Zeroids. And it's a nice metallic black and red, by the way. This is the Zeroid Technician. And unlike those two, it is a combination of parts. You can see the RoboForce treads here at the bottom, as well as the new Zeroid head acting as the pelvis. And the longer you look, the more you're going to see those parts intermingling to create something that is definitely very unique looking. And again, using a piece that is not normally meant for the head, it does create this very interesting little robot design. If not, it's a little bizarre. I will give it to you. But that is kind of the appeal, that even the bizarre robots are possible on these toys. It's just interesting to me, just how much these things end up building. And then we have probably the biggest release for RoboForce, for Toyfinity in general. And I'm not kidding, one of the bigger Glyos releases I've ever seen or owned. So, and in more ways than one. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Nazgar. Once again, we are dealing with something that is a combination of both the Zeroids and the RoboForce mold. It's all the parts that didn't go into him have now gone into the big guy. This is pretty astounding. Not only because something that normally gives us, you know, big half-tank, half-monstrous robots like that, have created something decidedly humanoid and much more to your standard robot aesthetic. It's actually extremely cool and interesting. Again, I love the versatility of this line. And then you do have that unique brain head thing going on. Yep, that's what Nazgar. That was one of Nazgar's things in the original cartoon. There was one episode of RoboForce that introduced the storyline and the characters, and that's what's left of Nazgar, the main villain. You can also see the optional dome head if you want to cover that up and give him a little bit more of a robotic appearance. But that is cool. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out some way of making a Krang body for him. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I am working on it. But that is an extremely cool thing for them to be able to release, because that's the lead villain in RoboForce, and he never had an official toy. But remember, Toyfinity owns the license to RoboForce, which means this is the official Nazgar. That is actually kind of cool. It's nice, and it's a nice way of instilling a little bit of added history into an old toy line that most people forget. But for those who remember it, or for those who were still wondering why that never happened as a figure, now it has. And as you can see, it's all thanks to the Glyos engineering. There's quite a bit of swivel to him, some faux shoulder movement that goes outward thanks to these slanted parts. You know, he's got knees, ankles. It's all swivel, but he actually does have some articulation to him because of his size and his mass amount of parts. Again, I love what the RoboForce sets can do. So those are pretty much the only 2 companies that had any major releases going on, at least as far as the ones I keep track of. Because, man, there's always stuff coming out. Banamon did Translucence, and some custom drops came out. You know, all these things, so hard. It's getting hard to keep up with everything in Glyos because there's so many companies now. But everyone is doing so many different things that it becomes extremely cool to see what everyone's doing. And it does mean there's usually something for everybody out there. Speaking of which, tonight, if you're watching this video the day it went up, there is a brand new drop over at Onell Design that is finally releasing the color scheme I've wanted them to make ever since I got into this. It's about as ideal as I could imagine for me, because I noticed something recently about all my favorite things, and they all seem to be the same 2 colors. So I'm actually extremely excited for that drop. But because a lot of people who see these videos ask why I go to the sites and the toys are never in stock. You gotta be there when it's brand new, and sometimes they sell so fast they break websites. So you kind of have to be quick on the draw. But also, my buddies over at Spy Monkey Creations are announcing something even better, a completely new toy. It's being revealed on April 1st. No, it is not an April Fool's joke. They've commissioned a new logo. They've got actual figures and prototypes. It's a real thing. They are not joking around. These guys don't joke about toys like that. But I'm always happy to see when a Glyos company does well enough that they can expand and create something brand new and welcome something new into the world of Glyos. And I'm really excited to see what they've got going on. So I'm going to leave links to everyone in the description below if you want to take a look at what Onell and Toyfinity have left in their stores. If anything looks good to you. Well, most of it's sold out. All of this is sold out. But hey, they've usually got some leftovers, so you can at least get some kind of experience with these toy lines. And I'll also leave links to... I'll leave a link over to Spy Monkey, so on the 1st, you can see exactly what they've got coming up next. So, once again, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully, I will see you guys on the next Glyos recap a little bit sooner this time. But this one actually timed out with some pretty big announcements and releases. So, it wasn't terribly timed, I guess.